seen the little piggies crawling in the dirt? And say it's your birthday. Happy birthday to ya. You don't realize how much I need you.
I Need You was one of the first Beatles songs to be credited to George. It's definitely not as well constructed as his later songs, but it's still well done and a great song that's worth mentioning. George wrote it about his girlfriend and later wife, Pattie Boyd, who was the subject for a lot of his best songs.
If I needed someone to love, you're the one that I'd be thinking of. If I needed someone.
From the Rubber Soul album, If I Needed Someone is a great example of George's music starting to shift towards a more Indian classical sound. It's not as obvious as some of his later songs, but it has similar vocal phrasing and the use of a drone over the tune.
It's been a long time.
This is probably one of George's most underrated songs, and it doesn't really get talked about much. It's on the White Album and serves as a transition in between Helter Skelter and Revolution 1. It's a slow, dreamy song that's very relaxing to listen to, especially with George's sleepy-sounding tone of voice.
I've got a word or two to say about the things that you do.
Another song from the Rubber Soul album, Think for Yourself, was intended to be a statement about the British government, although it was often interpreted as a song about a breakup. The song was a bit of a breakaway from the standard love songs that were mostly written on the Beatles' earlier albums, and turning more towards other more serious topics.
Have you seen the little piggies crawling in the dirt? And for all the little piggies, life is getting worse. Always having dirt to play around with.
Piggies is one of my favorite songs from the White Album, and a major part of why I love it so much is the use of the harpsichord. It gives it a Baroque feeling that, combined with George's lyrics, make it a really fun song to listen to and analyze. George meant for the song to be a comment on the greediness of the upper class, but many listeners didn't quite understand the message and took the line "what they need to damn good whacking" a little too literally. Still, the song is a great example of George's satirical songwriting style being used to point out flaws in society in a comedic and entertaining way.
Let me tell you how it will be.
Similarly to Piggies and Think for Yourself, George wrote Taxman about the increasing taxation in Britain. In the back vocals of the song, you can hear the names Mr. Wilson and Mr. Heath, two of the biggest political leaders in England, being called out. Taxman is the opening song for the Revolver album, and the only album to ever have a George song leading. Revolver was one of the first albums to really show George's talent with lyrics and songwriting, and Taxman is no exception.
Each day just goes so fast. I turn around, it's past. You don't get time to hang a sign on me.
Another song off the Revolver album, Love You Too, is my favorite example of the increasing integration of Indian music and culture into George's music. The song is partly based on Hindu philosophy and about his relationship with his then-wife Pattie Boyd. It uses instruments like the sitar and Indian classical vocal phrasing. It was also the first song where George incorporated the use of the tabla, an Indian percussion drum with two heads.
Something in the way she moves.
Something was another song written for George's wife Pattie Boyd. George said that while he was working on it, he imagined it being sung by Ray Charles, and although the Genius of Soul did cover it, it was also covered by Frank Sinatra, who credited it as a Lennon-McCartney song. From the Abbey Road album, it was the first and sadly the only song of George's that was released as a single. It topped charts in many countries and is one of the Beatles' most covered songs. It's also a great example of George's maturing guitar skills, and his soloing in this song is some of his best.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, I say it's alright.
Here Comes the Sun was recorded for the Abbey Road album and is one of George's most recognized songs. Having a hard time with the band and other complications, George went to visit Eric Clapton and wrote Here Comes the Sun while taking a walk in Clapton's garden. It's a good reminder that even when things seem terrible, it's good to step back and enjoy the small things in life. This song really shows what a smart guy George was and how he was able to be present in the moment. Although it may just seem like a pop song, it means a lot to a lot of people and gives you that great feeling of strolling around the park or garden in early spring. George began writing While My Guitar Gently Weeps while staying with his parents after the Beatles' trip to India. A big part of the song stems from George's feelings about the band's increasing arguments and separation after their return. The initial inspiration was from a Chinese randomness exercise, taking the first words he saw when opening a book and turning them into a song. The song was also George's first return to the guitar after working on the sitar for so long, and was probably part of the reasoning behind the title. The intro has a really powerful sound, but is so simple with just Ringo's bass drum and hi-hat, Paul's basic descending bass line, and simple piano. And when I say simple piano, I mean he plays the same note over 20 times in a row. To be totally honest, I don't think I can completely explain in words why I love this song so much. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of theory and other stuff behind it, but to me it's just one of those songs that hits you in the right way and just sounds great. Eric Clapton's and George's wailing guitar riffs in this song are also great at making the guitars sound like they're literally weeping. This is a great song that shows George's songwriting and composition at its finest.
We were talking about the space between us. Please don't you be very long. Please don't be long, or I may be asleep. 'Cause you're sweet and lovely, girl, I love you. Because you're sweet and